Good evening, everybody. My name is Suk Chamdal. I'm the CEO and the founder of the Cakebox. I'm joined by Michael Botha, who's our new CFO. If you have a look at our first slide, that's the introduction to Cakebox for people who don't know about us. We started in a small shop in East London in 2008, and now we are proud to say that we operate out of a 30,000 square foot facility in Enfield, North London. We also have two satellite sites in Coventry and Bradford. We listed in 2018 and have grown to 205 franchise stores as of March 31st, 2023. What do? In my opinion, we make the best fresh cream celebration cakes in the UK, and they're all made without eggs. Why, you may ask? Because we started off in a very mixed ethnic area of London. It made sense to remove one ingredient to make our cakes suitable for all ethnic communities as well as the indigenous population. We pioneered the concept of ready-to-go celebration cakes with free on-the-spot personalization as well as the click and collect in 1 hour concept. And this is all reflective in the strong growth profile that we've got, especially online. I'll go on to our next slide. And if you have a look at this map, this shows the locations across the UK with our depots also shown. So you can see the blue is in our Enfield. Then we've got our Midlands, Coventry, and the green is our Bradford site. And if you look at the map of Great Britain, you can see we've only got one store in Scotland and we've only got 4 stores in Wales. And you can see all the white space in the UK, which is inviting us to come and open a store or a kiosk. So as you can see, there's a great growth potential awaiting us. We were born in the midst of a recession in 2008, and we flourished in the pandemic. But the unprecedented triple whammy of the Ukraine war, which caused inflation and high energy prices, I believe derailed the whole world economy. This generation has not experienced inflation or high interest rates. All this with the added hangover of unused holidays during the pandemic, which everybody took in April and August last year, and top all this up with a 9-week heat wave, it caused a very challenging first half of the financial year. But the consumer, by September, had consolidated their budgets and have gone back to form. And what do I mean by that? That when there is dark and gloom, when there is a recession, people always look for that one chink of light. And that chink of light is the celebration. So it may be a birthday, an anniversary, and what they will do, they will make sure that they celebrate that without the restrictions of cost, without the restriction of health benefits, without the restriction of calories. And so that's where we come in with the celebration cake. And they will spend that few pounds extra for that special celebration because it'll get you to forget what's going on in the world. They will consolidate their budgets, so they will spend less on takeaways, less on dry cleaning, less on eating out, but they will always go for that celebration treat. So that is the reason why we've experienced a second half recovery in sales, and we're also experiencing or stabilization in the raw material prices. Usually, we don't put up our retail prices for 2 years and our wholesale prices. But last year, we've had to put them up several times because of the unprecedented pressure on raw materials. If we go into the next slide, this is reflected, what I said before, this is reflected in the revenues, expected to be up circa 5% year on year. The profits are in line with the market expectation, along with the positive like-for-likes, and we have opened new stores within our target range. this has resulted in us having only raising retail prices of our products well below the food inflation rate to protect our customer, give them a very clear, affordable treat for their celebration. And as a result, we have seen the loyalty among our customers being retained. We also continue to attract new customers with our marketing initiatives. We have a new marketing director who is taking us in new directions. So we are all using all available means, or TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, Facebook, to attract new customers, as well as retaining our existing customers as well. I'll hand over to Michael now for the next slide on the continuation of opening of new stores. Michael?
Thank you very much, Suk. So as Suk has mentioned, so despite the tougher and uncertain economic conditions over the past year, the group continued to open new stores, and we opened a further 10 stores in the second half of the year, which brought our total stores open for the year at 20, and with the group surpassing the 200 store milestone during the second half of the year. At the end of the year, the group had 205 stores opened, with a further 28 kiosks open as well. During the year, we also opened in areas, geographical areas, which we hadn't gone into before, like Oxford, Banbury, and Kettering. So at the end of the year, the group continued to have a strong balance sheet with strong cash flow generation during the year. Our cash position was up 21% year on year, where we ended with 6.3 million of cash versus 5.2 million for the previous year end.
Okay, and on this slide, you can see an example of our products. Very reasonable, very unique. Birthday cakes from £21. We do a selection of cake slices, cheesecakes, platter cakes, cupcakes, and everything we can do on demand. We've created a market which was not there before. A lot of you out there are too young to remember, but you had to give 3 days, 4 days notice in order to order a personalized cake. And what we've done is, because we've enabled the consumer to get a cake on demand, it's created a new market for it. For example, GCSE results, A-level results, or partial driving test. You can go into any of our shops, commiserations or congratulations, 5A stars, or we've got the religious occasions as well, where they never used to celebrate with a cake, but now Eid, Diwali, Christmas, New Year. New Year is now our number one busiest time of the year, followed by Christmas, then Eid, then we've got Mother's Days, Valentine's Days, and that's all because what we've done is that we've put the customer first. We all live very busy lives, and we want everything now, on demand, and I believe that is what we provide. And so we continue to innovate on new products. For example, we've just launched, as you saw on our first slide, the mango range. So we've got a whole range of mango cheesecake, mango slices, mango cupcakes, mango cake, mango cheesecakes, and it's provided a very successful start to this new year as well. We provide a very good offering at very reasonable prices to all our customers. Want to move on to Q&A now?
Okay, moving on to some questions for you. The first one come up was, is there anybody else doing what you're doing in the marketplace currently?
Of course, you're always going to get a competition. I think our company is the greatest for flattery. We've got a small chain in the Midlands. They've got about 23 shops. We've got another chain based in Wellingborough. They've got about 26, 27 shops. And then we've got a lot of the mum and dad shops dotted around the country. But it just shows that the resilience of our market, the resilience of our brand, and we welcome competition because I believe it creates a market, and we'll try the competition, then come back to the original and the best.
Okay, so what's leading on from that? What's the differential between yourself and your competition? What makes you stand out?
We were the original, we provide the leadership, and they just purely copy. And what they're trying to compete on is in price. And despite the four price increases we done last year, we haven't seen a drop in sales or our customers complaining about the prices. And so all our competitors try to do is they see what we're doing and they copy, which I think is a testament to our leadership in the market.
Okay. Next question. How serious has the impacts on rising transport costs affected the price of your products and price of ingredients?
Michael?
So it did have a substantial impact during the past year and since the start of the Ukraine war. We've managed to keep some of those price increases from our franchisees, as well as from our customers as well. We're now seeing an easing in terms of the pricing and freight pricing, and we're starting to see a few input prices coming down. So yes, that has impacted us, but we've managed to absorb them through the business, through other efficiencies, to a position now where we can actually see those cost prices coming down.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about retaining customers and adding new customers. So what are you actually doing on a marketing level? Are you offering like loyalty points or something like that?
Well, I believe that we have one of the best or rising online proposition. Our percentage of sales online continue to grow month by month, and it's that we target our existing customers. We give them the best customer service, unparalleled in the industry. We look after our customers. We give them what they want, and what you find that the customer rewards you by coming back. We have a new website in development. Once that website's up and running in the second quarter of this year, it will allow us a lot more data collection. It will allow us what you said, like the loyalty program. We are working on a loyalty program as well. But what we give the customer the best product at the best price at the best customer service. I think that is reflected in the retention of our customers.
Okay. So from a franchise perspective, has the attraction and value of the proposition changed due to price rises?
Or their gross margins have been affected, and you would expect that with the inflation in raw materials. But we're working hard in getting those margins back up to where they were. But in the last few months, it's shown the resilience of our model. We've got 49 deposits for shops to open. So that shows that the confidence in the market is returning, and consumers are now again, or the investors are now got the confidence to come back and take the plunge and open their own business.
Okay. So have you put up the cost of the franchise package?
The franchise cost is roughly about the same, because we have, for example, the wall boards and wall sheets and tables. We've got a lot of stock of those, so those prices haven't gone up. And there's not a huge increase in the building materials that we use. So there's no change in the price that you would have paid last year and you're paying this year.
Okay. What plans have you got for another hot summer? Is it going to change the product range, the impact of how you're going to cope with it?
When something is normal, like a hot summer, then people are used to it and don't change their habits. But when it's a freak, like last year, right, people change their habits. So what happens is in the first week, they enjoy the hot summer. Second week, they take it into the garden. But third week, they start traveling. They go to seaside, they go to family, etc. And that continues while the hot weather is coming. But if it's a norm, then it wouldn't change. But we have preparation. We bring our lime and lemon cakes. We're going to bring out our strawberries and cream or themed cakes. So we have plans in place that if we do have a hot summer, how do we attract, retain, and get the customer to come back in again despite the hot weather?
Right. I think what you need to do is get a contract with Wimbledon.
Absolutely, but we will have a strawberries and cream or based a cake with that.
That's right. So how is how are you developing in Wales and Scotland? I noticed on the map you had a few dots, but only one I think in Scotland.
That's right. We've got 6 potential shops coming up. Three in Edinburgh and 2 more in Glasgow in the process. We've got interest from Aberdeen and we've got interest from Stirling as well. And we're hoping that this year, early next year, that we should start accelerating our growth in Scotland.
Okay. I think this one's for Mike. What's the split of franchise versus owned stores?
It's fully franchised.
Fully franchised.
Yes, yeah, we do not own any corporate or run any corporate stores ourselves.
Okay, thank you for that.
100%.
Sorry, Mike, go on.
I was just going to say 100%. I could have easily said that very short, short and sweet, 100%.
Okay. And what is the dividend yield?
Our dividend yield for last year, the year before, was 5.5%.
And we've got a progressive dividend policy. So
Right.
we aim to increase the dividend every year. And we have done so since we listed, and we continue to do so. We increased it in the interims, and we aim to increase it again in the full year.
Excellent, excellent. Another question here. Are airports and train stations, etc., being fully utilised?
Again, we are looking at all formats of where we can be, and or if an opportunity comes up in airports, we will absolutely grab them. We're looking very seriously at all train stations, and we are working out a format which will work well. Where, as you know, everybody's in a hurry, and everybody wants to go concept. So we're working on that, and what I would like to say is watch your space.
Exactly. I suppose, obviously, as you say, because everyone's in a hurry, places like transport links and that sort of thing, you'd have to change the product range, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, and we are working on a product range, especially for the grab and go market.
Yeah. Okay. So, in general, someone said, how big is the UK cake luxury food confectionery market?
It's £2 billion, and let me put it simply, right? 68 million people in this country, 365 days in the year. That's 150,000 birthdays celebrated every single day. And how much have we got? That much. And so we want to make it that much.
That much.
Yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, if you're like the Queen, you could have more than one birthday a year, couldn't you?
And that's what I would love to everybody to have that.
What measures are you taking to reduce waste, bearing in mind environmental concerns and obviously the short shelf life of your products?
I am so proud to say that our waste is very, very minimal. The way we set up our systems, or the franchisee makes a cake, sells it, replaces it. And so there is no waste at the end of the day, because if we sell a cake at 6:45 p.m. and we close at 7, the cake that replaces it can easily be sold next day, which it should be, because it allows it to concentrate the flavor. But we only replace the product as we sell it. So we don't have a lot of product there left over, which we would waste. So our systems allow us for very, very little waste. And if we do have a cake which hasn't sold all day, what we would do is we'll cut it up by the end of the day and distribute it as samples.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Zero waste on the cakes that we have. We don't throw anything away.
Good to hear.
Just following on from that, at our facilities, our production facilities as well, we do work very hard to keep the waste down to a minimum. and what we do have goes to local farms to be used as feed as well. So it's a very important thing for us to make sure that there's as little waste as possible.
And also, again, it impacts on cutting costs as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Just finally, can you comment on the overall economics of owning a Cakebox franchise and how it's changed?
We originally, or you would get your investment return in 18 months. This has gone up slightly to about 24 months. Or the operating margins were 63%, but they've dropped to about 56%. But as they are growing up again, or normally you would have seen about 90,000 pound EBITDA, and that's dropped to about 60,000 at the moment. But again, with energy prices going down, with raw material prices going down, we expect that to rise again in the next 12 to 18 months.
Right. And do you have an overall target for the end of this year?
So we aim to have 20 to 24 stores open every year, and I believe we're well on the way to achieving that. And on top of that, there are bonuses, any kiosks in the supermarkets or the shopping centres that are open. That's our bonuses. Yeah.
And do you think this is the perfect business model in many respects for this type of business, this type of product?
I believe that we have a very good processes in place, and we have a very confident model, and that shows by the confidence in the franchisees, our existing franchisees. We've got 43 which are more than one store owner, and I'm proud to say we've got over 40 female franchisors who are multi as well. So we've got a very strong mix of franchisees, and it showed that we got 4, 3, 4, 5, 6 have got more than 6 stores, and they've put down deposits to increase their holdings as well, and just show that the confidence they have in the model, and they all recognise that last year was a blip. It was something out the extraordinary, and it's back to business as normal now.
I see. And how do you maintain communication with your franchisees? How do you keep everybody happy?
We have a Zoom forum every Wednesday,
right?
And we discuss with each other. We let them know of the latest developments, and we have a physical conference every quarter. And or we have 3 area managers across the country communicating with the franchisees, and we have our compliance officers on the road as well. And so all our franchisees interact with each other. And the best example of this is in COVID, when one of our stores, the entire store caught COVID. So the only option was to close the shop. But when the other franchisees heard of that, what they've done, they all banded together and they kept that shop open. They sent their staff, they sent their products, and made sure that shop did not close. So we've got a very close community among our franchisees. We're like a big family, and that's what I like to think it of. And we all the time, when one of the franchisees runs out of some materials, maybe a sponge or cream, they just go to the nearest one and they'll borrow it from.
Excellent. That's a good relationship to have, I think, and it's very important, as you say, you have regular contact with them to maintain that strong bond.
Oh, absolutely, and we encourage all the franchisees to talk to each other, and they support each other. There's a lot of franchisees who use the older franchisees as mentors because they've been here quite a while with us. And all our senior management is open to any phone call, any email, 24/7. All our franchisees know. That includes our staff as well. Any member of my staff, from the cleaners right up to senior manager, can walk into my office and talk to me. We're a very open, very family orientated organisation.
Excellent. So hopefully you've got a special franchisees cake that you all share once a year, do you?
Oh, absolutely. But we make a special one for every birthday that we have in the office.
Excellent. Okay, gentlemen. I think that's the end of the presentation. The questions.
So in this slide, introduction to Cakebox, we can see that it's owner managed. Suk Chamdal being the CEO that started it in a recession, and he grew it in a recession. It was listed in 2018 for not much more. It might even be the same kind of price as it is listed now. And I think it didn't have nearly as many stores, way less than 100 stores. And now they're over 200 stores. They got great products. If you haven't tried them, I really suggest you have some. I now try to include them in a lot of my celebrations because I think they're amazing, especially for summer, because they're really light cakes. So for spring, summer, nice weather, they don't feel like a heavy cake. It's really quite light and delicious. They've got this personalization, which I think is great, and the click and collect is also awesome. It's a family style franchise, and they're growing around 20 to 30 stores a year. And this is kind of them at the moment. They could easily get to 30, 40, 50 stores a year in the future. Look at this distribution. They don't have a lot of centres in Wales, in Cornwall, in Scotland, in East Anglia, in Hertfordshire, even on the south coast. It's not really got that much coverage either. So there's plenty of room to grow. If you think about it, Greggs has 2,000 stores. These guys only have 205. So there's quite a lot of room to go. Let's look at the third slide. They're a resilient model. They're going to grow in any market just because people are always going to keep buying cakes. If they're happy, if they're sad, if they're poor, if they're rich, if they have a birthday or if they don't have a birthday, they're going to be buying cakes. They didn't focus on this too much, but I wanted to focus on it. The revenues are only at 5%, but adjusted profit before tax is to be in line with market expectations, which is good. This reflects an improvement in like-for-likes and new store openings. The cost of raw materials has basically stabilized, which is good. Inflationary pressure has been mitigated to franchisees through the time of the cost prices increases and marketing initiatives. Something else that popped up is that their cash is doing a lot better. So their cash position's up over 20%, but their revenue's up only 5%, which might be a reflection on cost management, but also probably franchisee interest. They keep taking deposits and people are still interested in it. And they're continuing to open new stores, and I really want to focus on this. I honestly think there's a lot of room here for expansion. Like I said, Greggs has over 2,000 stores. Let's think about some of the things that were mentioned on the call and also some ideas I've got. Rail, road, air, motorway, petrol stations, airports, shopping centres. Rail stations that are 2,566. You could imagine that at least 10% of those rail stations could have some kind of format of a Cakebox. That's 256 extra stores. If you think about the motorways, I reckon motorway service stations, all of them could easily have a Cakebox. That's another 100 stores, so we're up to 356. Petrol stations, I reckon if they went to a petrol station and said they want to have 2 or 3 shelves in a fridge, or just to put a Cakebox fridge in there, right, of birthday cakes and cake slices, and you do a share revenue with the petrol station, I reckon they could easily be in a lot of those petrol stations. There are 7,000 petrol stations in the UK. So let's just say they could get into 1,000 of those for argument's sake, right? So we're up to 1,300 extra stores. I think they could be in a lot of the airports. So let's say 30 airports. And I think they could be in every single shopping centre in the UK in some way, some kind of format. They might even be able to have 2 stores, a main store and a kiosk in some of the larger shopping centres like the Bullring in Birmingham or Westfield in London. There are 550 shopping centres. Let's just say they could be in 500. And let's just say geographically, they do roughly one store per square mile. I think Domino's have 1,000 stores. So let's say 1,000, just call it geographic stores, just normal retail stores. So we've got easily 1,000 retail, 1,000 potentially supermarket kiosks, because there's loads of supermarkets out there. So that's already 2,000. The rail that we already talked about, which is 10%, that's 2,256. A motorway, 2,356. Easily 1,000 petrol stations, that's 3,356. Airports, 3,358. Shopping centres, 3,858. And yeah, 3,800. That's what I've got at the moment, 3,858 stores. potential in the UK. That's kind of what I think. Now, I might be wrong there. Maybe it's less than that. Like Greg's have 2,000, Domino's Pizza have about 1,000. But I honestly think there's at least 2,000. And I've broken it down there with all sorts of different store formats. And I think that would give them, they could easily go between 2,000 and 3,858 stores in the UK. Let me know what you think about that. That was just something I thought about. Also, university campuses as well. We haven't even talked about that. There's probably, I don't know, 100 or 200, maybe more university campuses in the UK. So that could get them up to 4,000 stores in the UK potentially. About their competition, they don't have a lot of competition. This is when they talked about competition. And, you know, what a chain investor with 23 stores, to be honest, like Cakebox is going to be building more than 20 stores a year anyway. Probably in a year's time or 2 years' time, they might be building 30 stores a year if you include all the kiosk stores. So I don't think the Leicester chain's to be concerned about. In Wellingborough, they've got 26 stores. I don't know how fast these guys are growing, but they're not going to be growing at 20, 30 stores a year. So I don't think that's a concern for me at all. The progressive dividend policy, I think that's really important because I'll stop sharing my screen now. The progressive store policy is really important. Why is it really important? It's really important because at the moment, the dividend's actually 6%. I'm going to quickly look what the today's dividend is. The last time I checked, it was 6%, but I'm sure it's more than that. Let's have a look. The dividend is 6.33% at the moment at the time of filming this, which is, we're talking on the 13th of June, 2023. And they increase the dividend every year. So if we just have a look at what the dividend was, I'm going to share my screen again. Right. So when they launched, they had a dividend of 1 pence a share. And then it's gone up quite a bit since. There was a final dividend of 2.4. So if that's the total year there, which it looks like it would be 3.6, then the following year, the total was 4.8. And then the next year, it was over 5p. And then it was 7p. So, you know, it is going up every time. If you look at the interims, the first interim was 1.2. The second interim was 1.6. The next interim was up 10%, up to 1.85. The next interim was up quite a bit to 2.5. That's about, I don't know, 30, 40% up. And then the interim recently was a bit less because they had that hard summer. So it went from 2.5, but it still went up to 2.6. So it's still up like 5%. So it's still going up. What about the final dividends? Well, the final dividend in 2019, 4 years ago, was 2.4p. And now, sorry, the last final dividend, which was June 2020, so June 2020, which is a year ago, was 5.1p. And it's more than doubled. In 4 years, it's more than doubled. So the current yield is 6.3%. If the trajectory is similar, one could quite reasonably expect this to more than double in 4 years. So you could be looking at between 12 and 14% dividends in 4 years' time. Now, if one wanted to be a bit more conservative and say that the growth rate might decline, then you might say it might take 6 years to double. But I really honestly think that this dividend yield is going to be 10% within at least 5 years from now. Getting a 10% return just on your dividends is pretty good. You can see that it's going up and up, basically. I think they've got this slightly wrong because they've missed out to 2019. But it's gone from an annual dividend in 2021 1.6 to 5.5, then we're on 7.6. You know, I think it's really, really, really attractive from, I'm going to stop sharing. So it's super attractive from a progressive dividend perspective. You know, if you can get a 10% return just from your dividends, then that's really going to grow your money quite quickly. I think you'd be doubling your money every maybe 6 or 7 years just from the dividend. And of course, that is if the dividend is a flat dividend. But if it continues to go up and the dividend doubles every 5 years, then you're going to be making 20% a year. So we've talked about the UK, and I think Cakebox has a really bright future in the UK. Obviously, it's kind of one of its kind in the world. So I honestly think that it could do very well in Asia, in Europe, in the United States and Canada, South America. It could go global if they wanted to. When do I think that's going to happen? I think the current CEO is very good. I think he's very much focused on UK growth. I think they would probably need to find some kind of country senior franchisor model where they sold agreements like a master services or master franchise agreements to people that could grow out Cakebox at a country level, similar to Domino's Pizza. And then hopefully the Cakebox group could maintain an ownership in those other countries. That's one model they could do. They could also get another, maybe in 10 or 15 years, they get another CEO to come in who has a bold vision to take Cakebox from, let's say, 1,000 stores up to 10,000 globally. And maybe that could be one other route. I don't know which is going to happen, but I really like Cakebox. I've been investing in them since 2018. It's been a rocky road recently, but in terms of the share price, but I think the business itself it's been very resilient and has done very well. And I could honestly see Cakebox having 500, 1,000, 1,500 stores in not too dissimilar, like not too far away into the future. Maybe within 10 years, I would hope that we hit the 1,000 store mark. So in 2033, hopefully we hit 1,000 Cakebox stores. At which point, I honestly think the stock is going to go up 20x. Plus, I think the dividends in 10 years' time, if one invests now, I reckon the dividend could be 20% or 25% dividend yield on money invested in 2023. Now, obviously, this is one of my predictions. It might not be right. I'm being quite bullish here, so I might be slightly off. Maybe it's 15% of the money that you invest in. But nevertheless, I reckon the stock's going to go up 10, 20x in the next 10 years. And I think the dividend is going to be well over 10%, probably 15% a year on money invested in 2023, and could even easily possibly be as high as 20% on the money you invest at the moment. It's not financial advice. This is just financial logic. I hope you enjoyed this video, and consider liking the video and subscribing. Remember that knowledge is power, especially the right kind of knowledge, and progress is everything. Make sure to check out my other videos on angel investing, on property, on the economy, on other videos and other topics that I enjoy. And make sure, guys, to make an awesome day. Knowledge is power, especially the right kind of knowledge. Progress is everything. See you guys in the next upcoming video. Take care.